Mexico, 500 years of one ghost story, told to children. Whispered between adults, heard sometimes near rivers and lakes after dark. A woman, dressed in white, weeping for children that are no longer there. Her name, La Llorona, the Weeping One. The most common version of the legend goes like this. A beautiful young woman named Maria falls in love with a wealthy traveler. They marry. They have 2 children. But over time, her husband loses interest. One day she sees him with another woman. Something inside her breaks. In rage and grief, Maria takes her 2 children to the river. She drowns them. A moment later, she realizes what she has done. She runs back. She searches the water. But the river has already taken them. She runs along the riverbank, crying their names until she collapses and dies. But that's not the end of her story. When La Llorona reaches the gates of the afterlife, she is asked where her children are. She has no answer, so she is sent back, forever bound to wander, weeping, near rivers and lakes, searching for the souls she lost, and sometimes taking other children to replace them. The rules, as told by Mexican grandparents for centuries, never play near rivers after dark. If you hear a woman crying nearby, far away, that's good news. Close to you, that's terrible news. Because in this legend, La Llorona's voice sounds far when she's near, and near when she's far. She uses distance itself as a trap. Children are her preferred audience. She is said to appear to those who are out late, alone, near water. Some versions say she takes them and replaces her own. Others say she only watches and weeps. Either way, the lesson is consistent across every region of Mexico. Don't be near the river after dark. Don't be alone. The legend has no single origin. Some scholars trace it to Aztec mythology, to Tzihua, a goddess who appeared at night carrying an empty cradle and crying for her lost children. Others trace it to colonial-era Spanish ghost stories. Most likely, La Llorona is a fusion, an ancient Aztec spirit reshaped through 5 centuries of Catholic imagination. She has crossed borders. La Llorona is no longer just Mexican. She is told in Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the Dominican Republic. She is told in Spanish-speaking parts of the United States, particularly along the southern border. Wherever the river runs, the weeping follows. Modern sightings are common. Park rangers in border state nature reserves have logged reports for decades. Drivers along quiet rural roads late at night sometimes report a tall figure in white standing beside a bridge. When they slow down to look, she is gone. A puddle of water remains where she stood. What does the legend really teach us? Folk scholars argue La Llorona is a story about 3 things at once. Grief that cannot be contained, the danger of water near children, the cost of acting in rage. 3,000 years of human warning condensed into one ghost. She is, in a sense, every parent's nightmare in human form. She has appeared in countless films, novels, and lullabies. A 2019 American horror film made her name globally famous. But long before any film, generations of Mexican children fell asleep being warned about her. Some scholars argue this is exactly the legend's purpose, a tool for parents, a boundary marker between safety and danger. Folklore as protection. If you ever travel through Mexico, particularly to small towns near rivers, and you hear an older relative tell their grandchildren not to go near the water after dark, listen carefully. They are not telling you a children's story. They are telling you, with 500 years of accumulated wisdom, exactly what they want their grandchildren to remember. La Llorona's job, finally, is to keep the next generation alive long enough to tell her story too. If you find yourself near a river tonight, anywhere in Latin America, anywhere along the southern U.S. border, and the wind shifts, and you hear what sounds like a woman crying in the distance, do this. Walk away from the water, not toward the sound, not toward the hope of helping. Walk away. Some sounds, when answered, become voices. Some voices, once heard, do not let go.